August 1943, an Allied fleet appears on the horizon. Sirens wail, Luftwaffe fighters scramble, and the skies erupt in battle. But inside the cockpits, these pilots aren't British. They came from across the ocean to fight for a country that wasn't their own. The morning sun cast its glow over the French coastline. From the cliffs of Dieppe, German spotters scanned the horizon. Then, they saw a vast Allied fleet. The signs were clear, an attack was imminent. Sirens blared. Luftwaffe pilots rushed to their cockpits, engines roaring. Orders were sharp: intercept, destroy. Within minutes, British-made fighters clashed with Messerschmitts in the skies. But inside those cockpits, the voices were different. These pilots weren't British. They had crossed an ocean for this fight. Who were they? And why had they come? For years, their story was overshadowed by history. Now it's time to bring it to light. By September 1939, Hitler's invasion of Poland threw Europe into chaos. Within months, Germany crushed France and decimated Allied shipping, leaving Britain to fight alone in a brutal summer campaign. Though victorious, they were battered and exhausted. Desperate for reinforcements, Prime Minister Winston Churchill turned to the United States. There was, however, a major problem. At the time, strict U.S. neutrality laws forbade selling arms, providing training, or aiding nations at war. The 1939 Cash and Carry Act offered some flexibility, allowing arms sales, if paid for upfront and transported by foreign ships, but direct involvement remained illegal. Any American who defied these laws risked losing their citizenship. Public opinion in the U.S. was deeply divided, but behind closed doors, there was quiet encouragement for efforts that could support Britain without breaking the law. Soon, the Roosevelt administration found ways to work around these restrictions. One of those efforts began with Charles Sweeny, a wealthy American living in London, who could no longer stand watching Europe fall apart. Inspired by the Lafayette Escadrille, a famed World War I unit of American volunteer pilots who fought for France, he saw an opportunity. Those daring aviators had faced Germany's finest aces, winning both victories and international fame. Determined to follow their example, Sweeny began recruiting American volunteers and persuading British officials to form a dedicated unit within the Royal Air Force. His efforts aligned with those of his uncle, also named Charles Sweeny, a seasoned mercenary already raising funds to assemble trained pilots for Europe. Initially, the elder Sweeny focused on helping Finland resist Soviet forces. But when Germany invaded France, his mission shifted. Britain needed help, and fast. After months of lobbying, the British Air Ministry finally gave approval in July 1940 for an American squadron within the RAF. To honor their origins, the squadron took the Eagle, America's national symbol, as their name and insignia. No. 71 Squadron, the first Eagle Squadron, was officially formed that September. As more volunteers arrived, 2 more squadrons, No. 121 and No. 133, were created over the next year. Through it all, the younger Sweeny remained at the heart of the operation, securing more than $100,000 in private donations to cover travel, logistics, and administrative costs. The Eagle Squadrons were now ready for the next step: training for war. Joining the Eagle Squadrons was no easy feat. Volunteers needed a high school diploma, be between 20 and 31 years old, and most importantly, log at least 300 hours of certified flight time. While these requirements were strict, they were still less demanding than those of the U.S. Army Air Corps. As a result, many ambitious pilots who had been turned away back home saw this as their golden opportunity to take to the skies. But training had to be fast and relentless. With France fallen and Britain standing alone, every pilot needed to be combat ready as soon as possible. After basic flight instruction, recruits were thrust into an intensive transformation, turning skilled aviators into deadly wartime pilots. Their journey with the Royal Air Force began at operational training units, OCUs. For 2 to 4 weeks, sometimes longer, they underwent a crash course on various aircraft, including the Miles Master Trainer, Hawker Hurricane. and the legendary Supermarine Spitfire. The Hurricane and Spitfire, already celebrated as Britain's best defense against the Luftwaffe, required absolute precision. Pilots spent endless days in formation flying, simulated dogfights, and emergency drills, honing their reflexes from dawn until dusk. Every moment counted. But the men of the Eagle Squadrons were more than just recruits, they were driven by something greater. As Ira Eaker, a famed Air Force commander, later said, they realized they should do their gallant best to see that Great Britain survived. When their training ended, there was no uncertainty about what came next. The front lines awaited. By February 1941, the first Eagle Squadron, No. 71, was officially operational. Stationed at RAF Church Fenton, they began defensive patrols, scanning the skies for enemy movement. At first, the air remained quiet. But as they moved closer to the European front, the men knew the calm wouldn't last. Their first loss came that May. During a fighter sweep over the Netherlands, pilot Mike Kolanderski, a skilled and eager airman, never returned. His death hit the squadron hard, but there was no time to mourn. Their role was about to intensify. Transferred into No. 11 Group's territory, they now fought daily battles with the Luftwaffe's best pilots. On June 21st, tragedy struck again. While patrolling over the English Channel, 22-year-old Nathaniel Morans was outmaneuvered by a Messerschmitt Bf 109. Forced to bail out, he swam for nearly 2 hours before being captured by a German patrol boat, becoming the first American prisoner of war in Europe. A month later, on July 21st, the squadron got its first taste of victory. During a bomber escort mission near Lille, pilot officer William R. Dunn spotted a Bf 109F breaking through the formation, aiming directly at the bombers. Without hesitation, Dunn pushed his Hurricane to the limit, closing the gap. Lining up his sights, he unleashed a burst of gunfire. The German fighter exploded midair, spiraling toward the ground in flames. The radio crackled with cheers. The Eagle Squadron had its first confirmed kill. After weeks of hardship, Dunn's victory breathed new life into the unit. He would go on to become the first American ace of World War II in Europe. By August, the squadron transitioned to the Spitfire Mach V, a sleek, high-performance aircraft that could finally match the Luftwaffe's finest. With fierce fighter sweeps over occupied Europe, their kill count began to climb. As the year came to a close, the Eagles returned to base for a brief rest, knowing their mission was far from over. Meanwhile, the Germans remained oblivious to the truth, believing these pilots to be just another RAF squadron. What they didn't know was that among those Spitfires and Hurricanes were Americans, fighting long before their own country declared war. 5. The 2nd Eagle Squadron, No. 121, entered combat equipped with Hurricanes, tasked with protecting vital coastal convoys. Their first major success came on September 15, 1941, when they took down a German aircraft, sending it crashing in flames. By November, the squadron was stronger than ever, now flying the more advanced Spitfire Mach EV. Their missions over the English Channel became more frequent, shifting from defensive patrols to aggressive bomber escorts and fighter sweeps over occupied Europe. Meanwhile, in early 1942, the third and final unit, No. 133 Squadron, joined the legendary Biggin Hill Wing, one of the RAF's most prestigious and battle-hardened units. This meant one thing: they were now at the heart of Britain's air war against the Luftwaffe. On July 31, 1942, during a bomber escort mission over Abbeville, the squadron encountered Rudolf Plans, a feared Luftwaffe piece with 52 confirmed victories. What followed was an intense aerial battle. Pilot Officer Jesse Taylor shot down 2 enemy aircraft, while Pilot Officer W.L. Baker claimed another. In the chaos, Plans himself was downed, marking a major victory for the Americans. But the triumph came at a cost. 3 of their own aircraft were lost in the engagement. Then came the squadron's darkest day. On September 26, 1942, while escorting U.S. B-17 Flying Fortresses, No. 133 Squadron was thrown into disaster. Their brand new Spitfire Mach T9s were caught in heavy cloud cover and unexpected winds, pushing them dangerously off course. When they finally broke through, It was too late. They had strayed directly over Brest, one of the most heavily defended German strongholds in France. Before they could react, anti-aircraft fire erupted around them, and enemy fighters pounced. In minutes, 6 pilots were shot down and taken prisoner. 4 were lost, and only 2 made it back. 1 crash-landed in England, while the other miraculously evaded capture entirely. Among those captured was Flight Lieutenant Gordon Brettel, who would later play a daring role in the legendary Great Escape from Stalag Luftwaffe. The war was far from over, but for the Eagles, the fight was getting deadlier by the day. August 19, 1942. The skies above Dieppe roared as the largest Allied raid of the war began. For the first time, all 3 Eagle Squadrons flew together in a single, coordinated operation. Their mission was critical: protect the troops below as they stormed the heavily fortified beaches. The Luftwaffe launched a fierce counterattack. No. 71 Squadron met a formation of Ju-88 bombers over the channel. Within moments, the Eagles tore through one, sending it crashing into the sea. Meanwhile, No. 121 Squadron clashed with Fu-190s, diving through enemy fire. A lone Fu-190 broke toward Allied bombers, until an Eagle pilot cut it off, sending it spiraling into the waves. Over Dieppe, No. 133 Squadron faced overwhelming numbers. Pilot Officer Jesse Taylor led the charge, taking down a Bf-19F and an Fu-190. Against all odds, they pressed on, claiming 4 more Fu-190s, a Ju-88, and a Dornier Du-217. By the end of the raid, No. 71 Squadron downed a Ju-88. No. 121 Squadron took an Fu-190. No. 133 Squadron destroyed 6 enemy aircraft, but the price was high. 6 Eagle Spitfires were lost. As they returned to base, one thought remained: what awaited them next? When news of Pearl Harbor reached the Eagle Squadrons in December 1941, the writing was on the wall. With the United States now fully at war, their time flying under the British flag was numbered. While some pilots chose to remain with the RAF, most saw this as an opportunity to fight for their country. Better pay and the promise of American-style food made the transition even more appealing. On September 29, 1942, a formal ceremony at Debden made it official. High-ranking officers from both sides gathered to mark the occasion. In a powerful speech, Air Chief Marshal Solta Douglas expressed deep gratitude. "We of Fighter Command deeply regret this parting, for in the course of the past 18 months, we have seen the stuff of which you are made, and we could not ask for better companions with whom to see this fight through to a finish. It is with deep personal regret that I today say goodbye to you whom it has been my privilege to command. You joined us readily, and of your own free will, when our need was greatest." With this, the Eagle Squadrons were absorbed into the U.S. Army Air Force's 4th Fighter Group. No. 71 Squadron became the 334th Fighter Squadron. No. 121 became the 335th. No. 133 became the 336th. To ensure a smooth transition and maintain combat effectiveness, the pilots continued flying their Spitfires, now repainted with American insignia. Their arrival came at a pivotal moment, as the RAF shifted from defense to taking the fight directly to Germany. The presence of these experienced pilots further strengthened the alliance between the United States and Britain. For Britain, this was the end of the Eagle Squadrons. For these men, their fight was far from over. History is full of untold stories, and we're just getting started. Subscribe to FLYTOP now and join us as we uncover more incredible wartime secrets. Stay tuned to find out.